Let's talk about a young man I like, but this was officially a bad day at the office. Jalen Hurts, 4 picks and a fumble, and a passer rating slightly over 31. One thing, let's stop arguing about this. One thing that has become obvious for Jalen Hurts, he is a circumstances quarterback. If the O-line's perfectly healthy, if the offensive coordinator is great, if Saquon Barkley is having an amazing night or season, if the defense is number one like last year, he's really successful. Justin Herbert's doing it with no ifs. Some quarterbacks are hot air balloons. They're dependent on the weather. Justin Herbert and some quarterbacks are fighter pilots. Just give me the coordinates. I like Jalen Hurts. Intangibles, A++. But the Eagles have now lost 5 straight games when they asked Jalen Hurts to just throw 30 times. Just 30. Last night he had to throw 40 times and became the only quarterback to have 2 turnovers on 1 play. The Eagles have a head coach that is entirely dependent on offensive coordinators and a quarterback that's dependent on mostly a perfect setting. Last year's Super Bowl, Colin, oh, give me a break. They won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. This is a general manager, owner-first franchise. I've said this about Nick Sirianni. The top head coaches, Shanahan, we've seen Matt LaFleur do it this year, McVay, Vrabel, they can fix a broken side of the ball. LaFleur's offense was broken a month ago. Now it's great. We've seen Vrabel do this. The O-line's banged up. He can fix it in season. I don't think Sirianni can. I don't think that's who he is. I'm watching that game last night, and it hit me. It's hard to believe the positivity bunny didn't work. It didn't have a bigger impact.
Listen. It's so hilarious to me that you want to open and just be like, it's proof Jalen Hurts isn't good enough because he had a bad game, which he obviously did. And then you go on and rip saying how bad the coaching is. And it's like, you're like, Justin Herbert just needs the coordinates. Really? Because when he had bad coaching and a bad team, is he winning Super Bowls? Is he getting to the playoffs? Is he winning playoff games? No. Matthew Stafford, when he didn't have great coaching and a great team, did he win a single playoff game? No. Oh, well, that's weird. Sam Darnold, who Colin Cowherd absolutely loves, who I love too. When he didn't have a great team and great coaching around him, did he make the playoffs? Was he hanging on by a thread? Oh, okay. So like, what are we talking about here? Every single quarterback needs a team and a coaching staff around him. And then now the whole nonsense of like, when they ask him just to throw 30 times, they lose and this. I've already gone through all those numbers and all through those stats and just pointed out the absolute nonsense of all of that. And Jalen Hurts has had a bad O-line all season long. And for the longest time was top in the NFL in total touchdowns, an elite touchdown to interception ratio, passer rating, completion percentage, all that type of stuff. And again, Jalen Hurts absolutely was not good enough in this game. No doubt about it. Specifically him not using his legs, which I'm going to unpack all of this. And last night I was up late crunching some numbers because I really had this aha moment. Because I anticipated this coming. And Nick Sirianni deserves an insane amount of blame. And quite frankly, actually, sneaky enough, so does Howie Roseman, who is the mastermind, who is the brilliant GM, puppet master of this Eagles team, of this franchise, no doubt about it. But they made an absolute brutal mistake with Kevin Patullo. And this game proves it to the highest degree. And they keep proving it week after week after week. And so wanting to now just blame Jalen Hurts after a bad game really just logically makes no sense, as we've seen every single quarterback just this season alone have bad, terrible games. And again, I want to emphasize this as clearly as I can. Jalen Hurts did not play good enough. He did not have a great game at all. But he, even Troy Aikman's calling out A.J. Brown. He threw a touchdown pass. A.J. Brown dropped it. That first drive go ball, A.J. Brown like half ran and then started to run, hit his fingers, and it's like, drop that. Drops the one ball that leads directly to an interception. That Troy Aikman's like, you are a paid wide receiver in the NFL. You better make that play. Right? Troy Aikman did not mix anything about it. He was just like, pretty much you could tell that Troy Aikman was like, if you're going to complain, you better step up and make plays. And he did not. Okay, and then that interception in overtime. First off, calling that play at that point in the game is insane to me. But that was a handshake moment that was an insane defensive play by the defender there, and so that was like unbelievable. Having 2 turnovers, it was an interception and a fumble. Then Jalen Hurts immediately got the ball back. It was like, oh my gosh, I got the ball, and then got walloped. Let's like chill out there, all right? Like, are you serious? Like, that's just, a little misleading. Sam Darnold, when his O-line wasn't perfect and he was getting past, rush, what did he have? 4 interceptions against Los Angeles Rams? And that's the thing. The Rams have an elite passing defense. And so do the Chargers. And this is where now I enter. Against an elite passing defense, excuse me. This is what this past week, all the games, total rush attempts per team. The Dolphins 41, the Buccaneers 39, the Los Angeles Rams 36. Now some of these games, like the Rams had a big, they had a big win. So people say, well, of course they had lots of running attempts. They won by big. That's not how the game unfolded. You can literally just go to the box score and look at the play-by-play. They write it down really simple for you. Pass, run, pass, run. So you can literally see how it went. The Rams ran the ball. The Buccaneers, in a close game, ran the ball. The Minnesota Vikings ran the ball. The Saints ran the ball. The Jags, the Bears, the Broncos, the Texans, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Green Bay Packers. The Eagles were at the very bottom, 25 rush attempts. And 4 of them coming from Jalen Hurts himself, whereas the vast majority of all of these are from the running backs. Just crazy. Just absolutely crazy and indefensible when the Eagles are supposed to be able to run at the highest level. Now you want to look at pass attempts. Dak Prescott had a lot of pass attempts, 37. A bunch of that is juiced up a little bit because of how the score did come up at the end. And then now Dak was just trying to let it rip and try to score as quickly as possible. Obviously, then you have Jalen Hurts at 40. Bo Nix, 38. A ton of short passes. Really simple, straightforward, a lot of underneath stuff. But Joe Burrow, 36. Caleb Williams, 35. Lamar Jackson, 35. Jared Goff, 34. Aaron Rodgers, 34. Patrick Mahomes, 33. CJ Stroud, 31. Stafford, 31. Baker, 30. Sam, 30. Trevor, 30. Josh Allen, 28. Jordan Love, 25. Like, what are they doing here? I mean, they had Jalen Hurts, 10.7 average depth of target against an elite passing defense. An elite passing defense. 10.7. I mean, that's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. And then QB rush attempts. Josh Allen had 9. Tyler Shuck had 7. Mahomes, 7. Lamar Jackson, 7. Baker Mayfield, 6. J.J. McCarthy, 6. Caleb Williams, 4. Trevor Lawrence, 4. Jacoby Brissett, 4. Jane Daniels, 4. Getting knocked out of the game. Jalen Hurts, 4. Why is Jalen Hurts so low on this? Why is he so low on this? Why does Baker Mayfield have more rush attempts? Patrick Mahomes, Tyler Shuck, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like, why? That makes absolutely, positively no sense. Sam Darnold has 3 rushing attempts. Aaron Rodgers got 2. Jalen Hurts has 4. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts should have 15. But I don't know what this is. I do not know what this is. And this is one of the most ridiculous stats that I can show you right now. This is rush attempts, okay, with 2 or more players. So what this means is if you handed the ball off to multiple running backs, at least 2 carries, right? If you had running back 1 get 15 carries, running back 2 get at least 2 or more carries, then you are in this box. Or you have a running back that got, 20 carries or whatever, and then you did some, you had some interesting runs with like a wide receiver or tight end, right? You had some sort of, wrinkles, innovation, just some interesting play calling. This past week alone, 26 teams out of the 28 teams had rush attempts with 2 or more players. And the vast majority, it wasn't just like a one-off thing, right? Where it was like, well, the majority of the teams had a running back who ran the ball 20 times, and then they handed the ball off to another running back like twice, and like now they were in this category. Like, that wasn't really the case. 26 teams. 26 teams out of the 28. The 2 teams, Philadelphia Eagles and Las Vegas Raiders. The Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley ran the ball, I think it was like 20 times. They handed the ball off to Tank Bigsby once. And then Jalen Hurts had like the 4 or 5 carries, whatever the exact math was. That is so indefensible. I can't even begin to explain it at this point. They fundamentally do not know how to run an offense. So that's what I'm saying. You want to blame Jalen Hurts. Like, I can't even blame Jalen, Saquon. I can't even blame A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown deserves a lot of criticism. But like, I can't blame. And I was also on the camp of really blaming the O-line, because also you saw the stat. I wrote it down. Run for loss 15% on their rush attempts for the Philadelphia Eagles. Second in the NFL. And so it's like, you want to blame that with Jalen Hurts? Like, okay. This is coaching, and that is O-line. As they show throughout this broadcast, like Cam Jurgens, Dickerson just getting blown up and Saquon Barkley getting met in the backfield. It is a brutal existence. And as Dan Orlovsky went off and said, they're predictable, they're stale, they don't know what they're doing, they can't run the ball, they're constantly in these 3rd and long situations, which throughout this entire game, it was 3rd and long, 3rd and long, 3rd and long. And their game plan was just like, against the best passing defense one of the best passing defenses in the NFL, let's just throw the ball as much as possible. Let's not have any interesting run packages like we see every single team here. The Lions, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Steelers. I mean, the Rams have Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. They got 2 running backs who do some interesting stuff. Even sometimes get Puka involved, etc. I mean, the genius of Ben Johnson. That dude runs the ball like no one's business. Swift, Monangai, or whatever, however Brady pronounced his name before, Monungagi. I don't even know what he said. But not the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles who know how to run the ball, who have Saquon Barkley, like they have no desire to try to do anything that's even remotely interesting in the run game. Like that, how does that make sense? And when you talk about a game plan going into this game, okay, this is where things just to me become so indefensible. The Chargers are top 3 in passing in pass defense, and they're 50 yards away from being number 1 in giving up the least amount of passing yards in the NFL. Okay, they're 50 yards away from that. They're one of only 2 teams that has a negative touchdown interception ratio, meaning they have more interceptions than touchdowns given up. 12 to 15. You know the other team that has that everyone praises as the most elite, potentially historically great defense? The Texans. So that was the passing defense that you went up to. A passing defense that is elite, that is special, that is awesome. The average passer rating is 73 for the Chargers defense. The Texans 69.8. And this is the team that the Philadelphia Eagles said, you know what our game plan should be? We're going to throw the ball 40 times. We're going to be inside the red zone now, like inside the 17. We have a ton of momentum going. We converted some huge downs. Rather than now keep the defense on their back foot and hand the ball off and really just start to press them into the end zone, we're going to now ask our quarterback to roll out and make an insanely difficult layered throw into the end zone to the wide receiver 3. I mean, it's got to be one of the dumbest things you could ever imagine. I mean, seriously. The team is bottom in the NFL, meaning top in the NFL, in passing, in giving up passing first downs, 115. The Texans are 118. I think the best are the Vikings with 106, but that's also because the Vikings are getting rocked for a lot of their games. So a lot of teams are just like, okay, we're just going to keep handing the ball off now. But the Vikings have a good pass defense, and the Eagles did well against it. And so they're like, we can do it. We can do it. And it's like, it's bad game management. It's bad game planning. Like, what are you doing? You're going up against an elite pass defense. And your game plan is, let's just throw the ball as much as we possibly can. It doesn't make sense. That's bad coaching. That's bad coaching. It just is. It just is. Okay, the Cleveland Browns have a great pass defense as well. Drake May and the New England Patriots. What was their game plan? We're going to ask our quarterback to throw the ball 24 times, and then we're going to run the ball 35 times. We're going to have our quarterback run 7 times for 50. When the Jaguars, Liam Cohen, great coach, with Trevor Lawrence, who's a good quarterback, I suppose. We're going to ask him to throw 22 times, and we're going to run the ball 47 times. Because Liam Cohen understands, hey, I'm going up against a great defense. We're going to be able to attack this quarterback, and then we're just going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They had 4 rushing touchdowns. Kyle Shanahan, 49ers, going up against the Cleveland Browns. We're just going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And again, Christian McCaffrey. This is a perfect example. Christian McCaffrey, 20 carries. He is Christian McCaffrey. That's the Saquon Barkley. Still got Brian Robinson Jr., 8 carries. Demarcus Robinson, Brock Purdy getting involved a little bit, 33 carries. And so that is the mistake of bringing in a Kevin Patullo. And that is the issue of having a Nick Sirianni. You have someone who fundamentally does not understand how to run an offense and how to game plan against a specific team. And that's indefensible. And so you did give the keys to an F1 car. You just said, you gave them to me, and you said, hey, you want to hop in and try to race? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, sure, I guess so. It's like, this is a Super Bowl winning roster. And you have AJ, Saquon, Devontae, Dallas, etc., etc., etc. And you said, yeah, Kevin Patullo will be good enough. The guy's been in the league for like 15 years or something like that. And this is his first time being an OC. Like, it was like 12 or 15 years. Whatever it was a chunk of time. And I was like, wow, no one has really given this guy a real shot yet. And now the first time he's going to be able to be a coordinator and a play caller. First time play caller, you're going to do it with the team that just won the Super Bowl. Like, that's your idea? There was no one else better for the job, someone with an actual experience. Like, really? Not smart. Not smart. And they're paying the serious consequences for it now. No question about it. So we can even make fun of A.J. Brown for talking all that trash and then, literally dropping balls. And we can say, oh, this is proof Jalen Hurts is not good enough. He's not a hot air balloon or whatever. It's like, we could do that all you want. Fine. But, this is this is coaching. And there's just not a quarterback or a team out there that can magically win or succeed with bad coaching, with bad play calling, with bad game management. I mean, just look what Ben Johnson has done to the Chicago Bears overnight. I mean, look at Sam Darnold when he's actually with a good enough team around him. Look at Daniel Jones with Shane Steichen. Look at Matthew Stafford, who is an elite quarterback. He could not win what did he make the playoffs like once or something? I mean, like, he could not do anything in Detroit. And then the first year he gets to Sean McVay, he immediately wins a Super Bowl. And when Stafford had a bad O-line and not elite wide receivers, he could not win a game, even with Sean McVay. Even with Sean McVay. When Puka wasn't there and Kupp wasn't there and no O-line, like, they were awful. Or even when Kupp was there and their O-line wasn't great, they could not win. That's Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. So, like, and again, I praise Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert's lack of success, I've defended as saying, what do you want him to do? The team isn't good. The coaching, blah, 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 blah. Let's not have revisionist history. Like, he was able to just rip off wins and lead his team into the playoffs and win Super Bowls now, because that's not what happened. So we got to be able to tell the whole story here. We got to be able to tell the whole story. I mean, it's like, come on, man. And, you know, you can say something about a Jalen Hurts and be like, well, it needs everything perfect and this or that. And it's like, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow haven't won a Super Bowl. And we would say, well, their defense wasn't good enough, but everything else was fine. Or everything else was fine but the O-line. Or they had everything, but the play calling wasn't good enough. Or they had everything, but the defense wasn't good enough in that moment. And it's like, so you're saying everything needed to be perfect then for those quarterbacks to win, to be able to get past the Chiefs or get past the Bills or whatever team they were playing at the time in the playoffs. Why did Josh Allen not get past the Kansas City Chiefs? The defense was not good enough. The play calling wasn't good enough. You know, again, at various moments. So it's like, so you're saying that he needed everything perfect? Because if the play calling was better or the defense was better, then I would be able to say the Bills were perfect. Everything was perfect. And then therefore Josh Allen would have then beat the playoffs, maybe win the Super Bowl, whatever. Same thing with Lamar. Same thing with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, that defense played great against Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl, but his O-line wasn't good enough, so I guess he needs everything perfect. And when Jalen Hurts has had things that were not perfect in the past, he also got to the playoffs. Multiple times, actually. And then even in actual playoff games when everything wasn't perfect, like when the defense was giving up a bunch of points or the run game wasn't there, Jalen Hurts did play great and did take over. So we can say, but like, yeah, those other quarterbacks put up better sacks, or yeah, but those quarterbacks have, you know, they got at least to the divisional round or the AFC Championship game, and it's like, well, he got to the playoffs, so we're kind of in the same wheelhouse right now. And then in other games in the playoffs, when everything was not perfect, Jalen Hurts also still elevated and played at a high level. But it's just kind of funny to me that someone like Colin, who understands the importance of coaching so much and praises it so much as I do too, talks about the importance of Shanahan and Shane Steichen. And he talked about how every great quarterback, essentially, he had that whole chart where he's just like, you need a great coach. You need a great coach. And he like went through all of them. Mahomes, Drew Brees, you know, he went through it all. And it's just like, you now willingly admit that you do not think Sirianni is a good coach and that the coordinating is awful. And you want to say this is proof of how not good Jalen Hurts is. And it's just like, that doesn't add up. We can criticize Jalen Hurts in this moment and say he did not play good enough because he did not. But if that's the main takeaway, that, like, you know, the question is the Super Bowl MVP holding his team back? If that's the question you have going into this, you don't get it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts holding this team back? What do you think is wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.